There are some characters who are more than just famous. They become part of childhood, part of pop culture memory, part of an entire generation that once believed it could be ordinary and still live a glittering light somewhere behind the stage lights. And Hannah Montana is exactly that kind of icon. Her return in the HM 20th anniversary special is not simply an old performance being revived. It feels more like the moment Miley Cyrus looks back at the biggest shadow of her career, the one that took her to the top, but also the one she spent years trying to escape. What makes this comeback so compelling is not that it is surprising, it is that, at last, Miley has become mature enough to return to Hannah Montana without needing to run from her anymore. If you grew up with Disney Channel, it is almost impossible to forget Hannah Montana, a girl living two lives. By day, an ordinary teenager. By night, a pop star loved by the whole world. When we were young, Hannah Montana felt like a dream. But growing up, we begin to understand that this story was never just a teen fantasy. It was an early metaphor for fame, identity, and the way a person can be split in two in order to be both loved and allowed to live. And maybe that is why this comeback is so much harder than an ordinary reunion. Because Hannah Montana is no longer just a child's dream. She has become a memory that adults look back on and realize how much they themselves have changed. What makes this return special lies, above all, in Miley Cyrus herself. There was a time when Miley seemed determined to completely destroy her old image in order to free herself from Disney. She cut off her long hair, changed her music, became more rebellious, more extreme, and almost seemed to tell the world, I am not Hannah Montana anymore. That was not just an image strategy. It was almost a necessary break. Because for many stars who grow up under Disney, the issue is not simply becoming famous too early. The real issue is that the public falls in love with one version of them so deeply that it never allows them to become anyone else. Miley had to go very far away to prove that she was Miley, not Hannah. So when she returns now, the deepest meaning is not in the old character itself. It is in the fact that she has gone all the way around her own life and finally reached a place where she can accept that past as part of who she is. No more denial, no more resistance, no more treating Hannah Montana as something she has to escape from. That is the moment when a person has truly grown into their own story. There is a reason Hannah Montana has stayed alive in pop culture memory for so long. Because the character touches a very human contradiction. Everyone wants to be seen, but no one wants to lose themselves in the gaze of the crowd. Hannah Montana was the dream of having it all. Fame, secrecy, admiration, and still somehow keeping a private life. But looking back from the present, we understand that this was never a real dream. Because in real life, the more famous you become, the more the line between your real self and your public image begins to wear away. Miley Cyrus is one of the clearest examples of that. That is why Hannah Montana's return today no longer feels like a simple fan service. It feels more like a dialogue between two versions of the same person. A Miley who was one defined by that image, and a Miley strong enough to come back, look it in the eye and say, that used to be me, and I do not need to reject it anymore. That is why this performance carries emotion, not because it takes the audience back to the past, but because it shows that the past can be embraced once again, after all the conflict, pain, and growth. All it takes is an old song, an old image, an old name, and people are pulled back immediately. But nostalgia only has real value when it does not remain frozen. If Hannah Montana's return were only about remembering the old days, it would simply be a beautiful performance. But if it helps us understand Miley more deeply, understand the cost of growing up in public, and understand how a childhood icon can take on a completely different meaning once we grow up, then it becomes something truly memorable. We once loved Hannah Montana because she represented what we wish for. Now people are moved by her because she represents something we understood too late, that behind the stage lights, every image, no matter how polished, is carried by a real person who has to bear its weight. That is the moment when Hannah Montana stops being just a Disney character. She becomes part of pop culture history, where childhood, fame, and identity collide. The most beautiful thing about this return is that it does not try to make Hannah Montana young again. It lets the character appear within the reality of time. She is no longer a fixed icon, but a memory that has aged alongside the audience. And maybe that is what makes people emotional. Because what returns is not only Hannah Montana, it is the feeling of being young, of once believing that the world of pop could be both dazzling and harmless. But now, looking back, we know that fame always comes with a price. And because we understand that now, this moment feels even heavier. Hannah Montana's return does not just awaken childhood memories. It reminds us that there are old versions of ourselves we think we left behind, when in truth, they never really disappeared. They are simply waiting for the day when we are calm enough, mature enough, and gentle enough with ourselves to return and call them by their real name. Miley Cyrus spent years learning not to run from Hannah Montana anymore. And maybe that is why this comeback is not a reversal. It is a reconciliation with the public, with the past, and with the person she once was. Because in the end, some icons do not return to start over. They return to prove that the thing which once shaped by the childhood of an entire generation can also grow up alongside that generation. Hannah Montana did not come back to remind us who we used to love. She came back to make us realize that sometimes the hardest things to face in life is the version of ourselves that once made the whole world love us.